For more than 50 years, the boarding process at Southwest Airlines was one of the most recognizable rituals in US aviation. Passengers checked in, received an A, B, or C boarding position, lined up at the gate, and then chose any open seat once on board. It was unusual, sometimes stressful, and deeply tied to the low-cost carrier identity that Southwest had at the time. So in this video, we take a look at why Southwest Airlines had to quickly revise its brand new boarding process, what went wrong after the launch of assigned seating, and why the fight for overhead bin space has suddenly become one of the airline's biggest operational problems. That happened on January 27th when Southwest officially launched assigned seating and an 8-group boarding process. The move was supposed to modernize the airline, support new paid seat products, and respond to customer research showing that most travelers preferred assigned seats. Instead, the first version of the system quickly revealed a more complicated problem, and within days the airline was facing public backlash. That's because Southwest had not just changed boarding, it also introduced new fare tiers, seat categories, loyalty benefits, credit card privileges, baggage fees, and premium bin expectations, almost all at once. Within weeks, the airline was already making refinements. By late April, it had made another loyalty-focused adjustment. The end of open seating was not a narrow operational tweak. It was part of one of the biggest commercial changes in Southwest's history. The airline moved to assigned seating, introduced an 8-group boarding system, created extra legroom, preferred and standard seating zones, and updated its fare bundles and loyalty benefits for flights departing from January 27, 2026. The old system had its flaws, but it was internally consistent. Boarding early mattered because passengers were competing for seats. Once on board, the seat and the overhead bin were usually chosen together. A traveller who wanted a window seat near the front would take one if available. If the bins were full, that same passenger could keep walking and choose a different row. Open seating created gate anxiety, but it also led to self-sorting inside the aircraft. Assigned seating changed that equation. Now the seat is fixed before the passenger boards, but overhead bin space is still a scarce, first-come, first-served resource. That means early boarding no longer primarily protects the seat, it protects the carry-on. To understand the new dynamic, you need to understand how passengers have different levels of status at Southwest. And for passengers who do not fly Southwest regularly, the new system can be hard to decode. Rapid Rewards is the airline's loyalty program. Those earning status via Rapid Rewards can reach A-List, Southwest's lower elite tier, while A-List Preferred is its higher elite tier. Southwest also has co-branded Rapid Rewards credit cards that now offer meaningful day-of-travel benefits, especially when it comes to boarding. And then, if that isn't complicated enough, the airline also has 4 relatively new fare bundles: Basic, Choice, Choice Preferred, and Choice Extra, while the cabin itself has 3 new seating options: Standard, Preferred, and Extra Legroom. All of that creates a multitude of different ways for a passenger to be valuable to Southwest. One traveller might be valuable because they fly often and hold A-list status. Another might be valuable because they bought a higher fare. Another might be valuable because they paid for extra legroom. A fourth might be valuable because they hold a Southwest credit card. Those categories do not always overlap neatly, which creates tension in the boarding order. Southwest's original assigned seating boarding order appeared logical when it launched in January. Pre-boarding remained separate for eligible passengers, while the new numbered groups were designed to reward a mix of fare type, seat location, loyalty status, and credit card benefits. This first version, however, placed a heavy concentration of higher-value passengers toward the front of the process. Extra legroom customers, premium fare passengers, and elite members all had strong claims to early boarding. That made sense commercially because Southwest needed to protect its new premium products, but it also created a more complicated operational question. What happens when too many passengers with priority are sent into the cabin at once, especially if many are heading for the same forward or exit row seating zones? Within days, Southwest was finding out. While its stock surged, so did the frustration and anger of its passengers. The first major problem was psychological as much as procedural. In the open seating era, passengers boarded to find both a seat and a bin. In the assigned seating era, the seat is already known. The passenger's remaining uncertainty is the bag. That makes the overhead bin the new battleground. Early reports from the rollout described exactly that problem. Passengers with assigned seats could find the bins near their rows already full, forcing them to hunt for space elsewhere. That can mean walking backward, placing a bag far from the assigned seat, or stopping in the aisle while other passengers wait behind them. As the new policy went into effect, thousands of passengers took to social media, describing boarding as messy, with aisle bottlenecks and bin space confusion becoming immediate pain points. This is why the new process could feel paradoxical. Assigned seating may reduce gate anxiety because passengers know where they will sit, but it increases cabin anxiety because passengers no longer know whether they'll have space for their bag nearby. For an airline built around fast turns and efficient boarding, that is not a small issue. It affects the entire aircraft flow. Southwest's baggage policy change also made all of this more complicated. For years, bags fly free was one of the airline's clearest brand promises. It was also operationally useful. When customers could check bags without an extra fee, many had less reason to drag a roller bag into the cabin. Once checked bagged fees enter the equation, the incentive changes. More passengers try to carry bags on board to avoid paying, compounding the boarding problems. The first wave of fixes came in late February and early March. Southwest acknowledged that the new system needed refinement and identified 3 broad areas of improvement: better balanced boarding groups, more overhead bin space, and designated bin space for extra legroom customers. The better balanced boarding groups point is especially important. The first version of the new boarding system created uneven boarding flows as certain types of passengers were concentrated in early groups. That may work as a reward structure, but it can create jet bridge and aisle congestion if too many people board at once or cluster in the same part of the cabin. Southwest's fix was to refine how groups are assigned, so overhead bin availability near seats would improve while preserving the fast boarding and deplaning process customers expect. The signage fix was just as revealing. Southwest added signs on the bins above extra legroom seats so that bin space would be reserved for customers sitting there. That is a major cultural shift for Southwest. It turns the overhead bins above certain rows into part of the premium product, much like the practices passengers see on legacy carriers such as American Airlines, Delta Airlines, and United Airlines, where premium cabins usually receive more protected storage. Southwest is not only trying to solve the problem with boarding logic, it's also changing the aircraft interior. The airline is upgrading cabins with larger overhead bins that can hold up to 50% more bags. That is a crucial part of the story because boarding rules can only do so much. If there's not enough physical storage space, passengers will stop in the aisle, gate agents will still check bags earlier than customers expect, and flight attendants will still be pulled into disputes about where bags belong. The second wave of changes came in late April and are more loyalty-focused. As before, all travellers are assigned a boarding group between 1 and 8, but now A-list and A-list preferred members receive earlier access to the cabin and overhead bin space every time they fly. Notably, A-list and A-list preferred members will extend their benefits to up to 8 passengers on the same reservation. This goes for Rapid Rewards primary credit card members as well. Companion pass holders and their accompanying companions will get the highest applicable board benefit, subject to their current Rapid Rewards tier status. For passengers, the practical lesson is simple. Boarding still matters on Southwest, but for a different reason. In the open seating era, boarding early was mostly about getting a better seat. In the assigned seating era, the seat is already assigned, but the bag is not guaranteed a convenient place on board. What do you think? Do you believe Southwest's move to assigned seating was ultimately inevitable, or did the airline lose part of what made it unique in the first place? Let us know by leaving a comment, and don't forget to subscribe for more aviation content. See you next time. In addition to our daily YouTube videos, Simple Flying publishes over 150 articles and a podcast every week. Visit simpleflying.com.